to another Bachelor Nation news recap. We got a whole lot to talk about today, including a very special announcement that you guys have to wait until the end to hear. But before we get into it all, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so we can keep you updated on all things going on in the Bachelor world. Hey guys, it is Renee Ariel here, joined by the wonderful, the lovely Fiona Zaring.
Hello.
Fiona, we got a lot to talk about today because things are happening with Tyler Cameron, with Hannah Brown, and with our girl Hannah Ann. Let us know the update on Hannah Ann's love life because you guys, we got one.
I am thrilled about this update. I am so happy for Hannah Ann. She has been spotted with NFL quarterback Mason Rudolph. They were spotted out together on a coffee run in Los Angeles on Wednesday. A TMZ source said it's the third time they've been spotted together recently, and a witness said they seemed very much lovey-dovey. He even opened her car door. I don't know anything about Mason Rudolph. I would be lying if I claimed to have literally any knowledge of the NFL, but what I will say is I love a guy that opens a car door. I think that was awesome. And what I'm really curious about, and I want to know your thought on this, is this the mystery man that Hannah Ann has been hinting about anytime she's popped on a podcast recently? She's sort of alluded to a bit of a quarantine fling. I'm thinking it could be Mason.
I definitely think so. Obviously, people were a little confused because she was supposedly spotted with another quarterback back in, I think, March. But I think it's this guy. If they're not just internet pals, they're getting coffee together IRL. I think that this is definitely the guy she's been talking about, especially because she kind of confirmed it a little bit because of that comment that she liked on Instagram.
Yep. She, let's see, one fan called Rudolph the upgrade of the century. Clear shade to our guy, Mr. Pilot Pete. And Hannah liked it. And to be clear, that comment was made under photos of Hannah Ann and Mason together grabbing coffee. So definitely seems like she's confirmed that something is going on, right? I mean,
absolutely.
You don't like that kind of comment if you're not willing to sort of lean into the fact that you were at least flirting. I'm really happy for her. I really hope that she gets like some privacy to figure out all of this out, because I think Hannah Ann really deserves a new lease, a fresh relationship. She's been through the ringer.
I completely agree. I think Hannah Ann deserves someone that makes her happy and deserves her love and appreciates her the way that she appreciates them. And I hope it's this Mason guy. I know nothing about sports, people that play sports, what's going on in the sport. I don't know. But if she approves, especially after coming out of the rocky relationship that was with Pilot Pete, I trust her instincts. And I like that he opened the car door. I like that they're social distancing together. Maybe, I don't know if they're quarantining together. I highly doubt it, but I think what I was could go somewhere.
I have to say, I don't think they're quarantined together, but I think based on what she had said earlier about someone like dropping off coffee and having a FaceTime date, like they have been following procedures and perhaps each quarantining really intensely long enough that they felt confident going out together. And, people talk about once you've been quarantined long enough, sort of being able to expand your circles to people who have also been quarantined. And then as long as you guys just continue to limit your exposure to each other, it's risky, but it's not as dangerous. And if that's the case, that means this has been in the works. They've been in communication. They've been FaceTiming for a while to get to this place. So I'm really happy for her.
Me too. Speaking of Bachelor Nation's love lives, let's talk about one of our favorite love lives to talk about, Tyler Cameron, who was recently on the podcast Chicks in the Office, along with Dylan, another Bachelor alum who is engaged to Hannah Goodwin. So they went on the podcast and Tyler revealed why he won't go to Paradise. So on the podcast, he said, I'm going to be honest. I feel like it would just be like all downhill. And then Dylan proceeded to go on about what that kind of means. And I think Dylan made the funniest point. So he said, and I quote, "You'd absolutely just get ruined. They would make you look so bad. Oh my God, you had such a great rise that they'd be like, all right, we need to have him fall. What else are we supposed to have him do? Just keep rising?" So that point I think is so funny because you know that most of the time, if someone has looked really good on the show, one of these spin-offs, whether it be Bachelor in Paradise or as we saw with Luke Pell in Bachelor Winter Games, like they don't look as good all the time. Sometimes this is when they go from being our favorites to being a villain. And I truly think with Tyler's rise that he had, with dating supermodels, with being the most loved guy on Hannah's season, with everything that's gone on with that, I couldn't imagine what they would do to him on Bachelor in Paradise. He did also say that that's not the only reason. He said he's also a one-woman kind of guy, which I thought was very sweet.
Here's the thing. I totally agree with Dylan. I think that at the end of the day, like you are in control to a degree of how, you're portrayed on the show. If you don't give them any villain behavior, then they can't completely manipulate you. But in the circumstances of Paradise, it is almost impossible to look good and behave well and not mess up or step on any toes at any point in time. They're throwing new people in and out. There are so many options. It's just really hard to control your destiny in that setting, I feel like. And, Tyler, I think, has worked really hard to make it clear that he's a good guy who just is out here trying to have fun and be his goofy self. So I wouldn't open myself up to the puppet master strings of those producers again. If I had the career Tyler does, the reputation he currently has, I would say absolutely not. No, thank you. Which clearly is what he's doing. And I endorse it. I think it's the right call.
And if you guys think it's the right call or the wrong call, make sure to give this video a thumbs up because we want to keep talking about it. Also, shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. Get your questions ready because we will be answering some at the very end of our video. But you guys, we can't talk about Tyler Cameron without talking about Hannah Brown, right? That's just like that's like having a peanut butter sandwich with no jelly. You need the jelly. Fiona, what's going on with Hannah Brown?
So Hannah Brown, she was on the TikTok, which I love. I love Hannah Brown on TikTok. She's always serving up some great content. She doesn't take herself too seriously. And in her typical Hannah Brown fashion, she is so much fun. She decided to just out of the blue poke fun at her fantasy suite dates. She posted a pretty amazing TikTok with some Cardi B audio, which I believe we have. So let's take a look.
Were you nervous doing that?
You know what? I was nervous for my second performance. For my first performance, I was like, party with Cardi. Yeah.
So she captioned that adorable TikTok with, "When Chris Harrison asks you about Fantasy Suite Week." So Pilot Pete was obviously her first date. And so what she was saying is she was not nervous for that date. That is the infamous Windmill date. I think we all remember the details. And then Tyler Cameron was, of course, the second date. And if you remember, they did not do the deed because they felt their attraction to one another was too strong. So kind of an interesting little TikTok audio situation. She found a way to comment on all of this. I thought it was hilarious. I was here for it.
I was definitely here for it as well. I love Hannah because she can always poke fun at herself and she just doesn't take her season or herself too seriously. She owns her mistakes and she'll make light of them. And I think that is just an amazing influence for people because we tend to take ourselves too seriously. And I feel like on the internet, whether it be social media or on television, like shows like The Bachelor, people often tend to strive for perfection. Whereas Hannah has always set the example of like, no, imperfection is beauty. And I love that she continues to do that. She continues to joke about her season and her flaws. And especially with like the ups and downs of like Pilot Pete and her relationship and her and Tyler Cameron's relationship since the show ended, to still be able to laugh at that is, I think, amazing. Also, does this not kind of mean that like when you're more nervous about seeing someone, that means you kind of like them more? You know what I'm saying? And still bringing that up after they quarantine together, just throwing that out there. I wonder if Tyler like messaged her after the fact.
Interesting.
Those are
I
my
didn't
thoughts.
even think of that. Well, she also made another TikTok joking about her current singlehood. As we all know, after lots of teases going on in the quarantine crew, both Tyler and Hannah have said at this time they are single. So she made a joke in her second TikTok about how she's happy being alone, but then it quickly turns into sort of tears. It's another one of those like audio dubs TikToks. I would recommend checking it out just because it's some good content. But what I think is funny is kind of piggybacking off of what you just said. She's making jokes about being single and being into being single, but we all know there's something floating around in the air with her and Tyler Cameron. So I don't know. I wonder. I still haven't written them off.
I haven't written them off either. I have hopes that once we can live normal lives again out in the world, seeing other people that aren't our parents or our cats, we can see where dating life takes us. And that includes Hannah and Tyler. Speaking of dating life, you guys, I'm sure I'm not the only one. Fiona and I are addicted to Listen to Your Heart. We are hooked on the show, the drama, the romance, the singing. And oh my gosh, the new promo is making me go a little crazy, and I'm going to tell you why. So obviously we know there has been a love, I mean, it's a love triangle. I was going to include Sheraton in the love square, but he's like off to the side, like kind of being a second choice. Y'all know it's true. With Savannah, Julia, and it's so heartbreaking, and Brandon. And this episode, because they just threw in last episode that like all the couples are just going to have to pursue each other moving forward, and that's that, and they're going to be a musical duo. But then they threw a wrench in all of that because next week they are couple swapping on dates. And as we saw in the promo, you know who's going on a date? Julia and Brandon, which, considering how flip-floppy and wish-washy he is, this is not going to go well.
No, it's not going to go well. And you know what? I just feel for Sheridan, and I'm not ready to watch him get hurt again. He's a good guy. And, you know, I think that here's the thing. I went into the show so skeptical. I was like, this is not going to be for me. It's going to be too much, too dramatic, blah, blah, blah. I love this show. I love the format. I love the singing. I love, to be honest with you, I've always been a little bit more of a fan of Bachelor in Paradise, just because it's a little bit more of a free-for-all. It's a little bit more of a mess, and it just feels easier for me to wrap my head around. I sometimes struggle with the concept of 30 girls dating one guy at once and blah. It's fun, but for some reason, Paradise just feels more real. This has that same element to me. There's more free will involved. They're picking who they like. They're seeing how it works out. Feels a little more human. That being said, humans make mistakes and humans hurt people. And I saw this love triangle coming from a mile away. I don't like what this couple swap is going to do. I mean, I guess maybe if they end up with who they're supposed to be with through it, whatever. But my God, hasn't Sheridan been second choice long enough? Oh,
I know. I'm very worried for Sheraton. I'm also worried for the drama that this is going to create for Savannah, because I feel like Savannah just got very comfortable and secure with her relationship with Brandon, even though Julia obviously thinks ingenuous and it's BS and we shouldn't buy it. I don't know what to believe with that. I think we're going to learn next week, perhaps, what's going down. But speaking of that, you guys, you ask and you shall receive. A lot of you have been messaging us saying that you would love for us to cover Listen to Your Heart in an after show type format. And guess what? we're doing because we're obsessed with the show. We need to talk about it. We got to recap it. There's not enough space in this Bachelor Nation news recap to talk for a full hour just about listen to your heart. So we
much
listened
to
to
get
our
into.
heart. We decided we need to talk about it with you guys every single week. So starting Tuesday, we will be covering the show single week until the finale. So get excited for that. Unfortunately, because we are quarantined, I don't think we'll be doing any whiteboard breakdowns of what's going on, but we are going to try our best to have fun with it. And we can't wait to start next week because I need to talk about the show with someone other than my mom, because that's the only person I've been talking to it about.
I've been talking to my dog about it because my boyfriend won't even watch with me. So this is going to be a huge upgrade.
Yes, big time, big time. And starting with a very dramatic episode, mind you, with this couple swap, I cannot wait to see how it plays out and to talk about every second of it. But you guys, it is time to answer some questions. So let's see what is going on in the chat. Let's see. Quick Living says, thoughts on her showing up at the beginning of Peter's season the way she did, but now with or with not Tyler. Okay. So I'm assuming you're talking about Hannah Brown showing up on Peter's season, the first episode. The thing is, I think that was super planned out by production. I think that they just wanted her to have this moment with him, giving him back whatever. What did he give her? His pin?
The wings or something, right?
Wings.
The little pilot wing.
Yeah, it did kind of bring me back to He's Just Not That Into You, when Gigi, if you guys haven't seen that movie, amazing movie. It's on Netflix right now. You have time to watch it, go watch it. But Gigi is pretending she's giving back a pen from the guy that she went on a date with that won't call her back. That's the vibes I get from it, but I don't think it was just that Hannah wanted to give him back his wings. I genuinely think production's like, this will look really great on TV, and then emotions got the best of her. I think that was the same deal with the dates, the date that she hosted. As for Tyler, these are weird circumstances, you guys. To have such intense feelings for multiple people and then having to kind of write them off, maybe before you're even ready, just going off of what the show needs you to do to keep up with episodes. I don't blame her for still having feelings for Tyler. I don't blame her for having unresolved feelings for Peter. I just think that having it all play out on national television, because we're all dumb when it comes to love, let's be honest.
Oh, I totally agree. I think that Hannah's season, and you could almost say this about Peter's season too, it almost worked too well. She found really great connections with a lot of guys, and she did make a choice. She did pull a feeder on us, and we all know how that played out. So it's hard when you make a decision and it wasn't the right one to trust former decisions you made. So feeling like there was unfinished business with Tyler or with Peter totally makes sense to me. I think that this is something everyone's been guilty of at some point in their life. And I don't think it was her fault what happened with Peter's season. I don't think Hannah Brown was like, I'm going to show up and ruin his whole season and all of these girls that have been cast. I'm coming in to ruin it. I don't think that was her intention. And I think she has said that was a hard episode to watch back. And, I think I'm glad that the loop, I think, with Peter has been definitely closed. If the Tyler Cameron thing is meant to happen, I think it will. And I think her time with Peter is definitely done.
I agree with that. Let's see who else has questions.
I saw, let's see, Beach 2020 said, do you think Hannah Ann will go on Paradise if it happens? Here's the thing. Hannah Ann, she stopped by the Ellen show, but I believe it was who interviewed her? Sean? Ellen had a fill-in guest, but Hannah Ann stopped by the Ellen show and was asked if she would go on Paradise. And at the time, she was like, maybe. Totally made it seem like it was a possibility and she'd be into it. The question will now be, now that she has this new man potentially in her life, will she want to go on Paradise or will she want to give it a shot in the real world? I think Hannah Ann has become such a big figure in Bachelor Nation so quickly, and a lot of people are really rooting for her. If this season of Paradise doesn't happen for her, and in the future, she's totally single and ready to mingle, I think they would totally send her to paradise, and I think she would go. So this season, I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out with this new guy in the future. Totally. That's just my opinion.
I completely agree. It's just a waiting game. We got to see, because this guy could be her husband. We don't know. And then she's definitely not going to go on Paradise. Let's see. Adriana said, asked, was it fair of Claire to shade Matt? Here's the thing. Like, it's Claire's season, just like it was Peter's journey, just like it was Hannah Brown's journey. Like, this is Claire's journey. That being said, things have never played like this, where we know who the contestants are, and then there's a period of time where the bachelorette or bachelor doesn't get to meet them, and then they continue to live their lives with the world knowing they are the contestants of the Bachelor. That being said, if you're doing all these interviews, or even a few interviews, talking about the season before you go on, before you even talk to this bachelorette that you are so excited to meet, I think that can make any bachelorette skeptical of your reasons of being there. So I don't think it was wrong for her to shade him. I think, she's following her heart. She may think it's a little shady that he's going on the show, like questioning his intentions, but she could also be wrong. And call him out by name. We all just figured it out because it was kind of obvious. And, to each their own prerogative, What do you think, Fiona?
I think she also sort of clarified that people were not supposed to read too deeply into her original tweet, and that it wasn't about one person. And, I think we talked about this before, and I said I'm pretty sure it was a little bit directed at Matt. Even if it was directed at Matt plus some, it was definitely directed at Matt to a degree. But Matt came forward and kind of said, hey, I'm raising money for charity. I got my own stuff going on. This is not me being thirsty for Bachelor attention. I'm over here doing something completely different. So I think that I think here's the thing. I think, was she right or was she wrong is irrelevant, because she's totally entitled to her feelings. I think that perhaps she might be sitting at home right now going, okay, maybe I misjudged Matt a little bit. I'm going to give him a fair chance, see how this plays out on the show. Yeah. And I think she kind of hinted to that by clarifying her tweet. Again, we'll just have to wait and see. I think Matt's overall got a pretty good rep in Bachelor Nation, so I hope it works out for him pretty well on the show.
Me too. I completely agree with what you're saying. Yeah. Actually, I want to bring this comment up from Andrea, who said that
yes,
they've heard that the ratings for Listen to Your Heart aren't good, and they're talking about how the cast isn't getting a lot of social media followers, and they know that we love it, so why do we think it's doing poorly? To be honest with you, I think it's going to literally any spinoff The Bachelor will ever create that isn't already well known. It's one thing to do a show like Paradise or even Winter Games, where at least the cast members that we are familiar with, a new spinoff with a whole new cast of people we don't know. It's risky business. And a lot of people love the familiarity of The Bachelor and how we continue to use at least one familiar person every single time. It's never a completely new person we've never met. It may be someone from 5 seasons ago that they cast as the Bachelor or Bachelorette, but it's always someone we've met before that we can look up. Whereas this new show, it is a whole new bunch of people, a whole new concept, and I think that is what is tricking people up. I think that in order to give this show a fair shot, it needs to be on for at least 12 seasons. And then I think people will welcoming it with open arms. That's a mess, because I think it's just new.
I totally agree. I also think, here's the thing. The way they promote it, I dragged my feet. I did not watch week 1. I was like, well, I'll watch week 2. I'll watch them both at once. I was slow moving to hop on the train, because it just felt like it was going to be too much, too many things. Music, really, I was like, I don't need this right now. Then I was in the mood to watch GCTV, as one is, and I was hooked instantly. So I think it's just that kind of thing where as as any show gets started, the hype continues to build. I didn't watch Little Fires Everywhere until everybody I knew was like, you've got to watch Little Fires Everywhere, you know? So when something is truly brand new, sometimes it takes a little time for the hype to build. And I agree with you 100%. We don't know any of these characters. And, you know, it's hard to be invested in the lives of real people who you've never heard of before. So now that the drama, I mean, the couple swap, come on, that just as a concept is crazy. It's wild. So, like, we're only a few episodes in, if you really think about it. The first two kind of just had to lay the groundwork, introduce the concept, show us what it would be. And now things are really getting started. So I think, I mean, with streaming, all the episodes are available on Hulu. I think people will see by the end of the season way more fans invested. And the diehards are already there. So I think it'll catch up with itself. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there. I think just give it some time. As soon as people get to the good parts, like we did, it becomes very addicting, similar to any Bachelor show in the past. But on that note, you guys, I think we have time for one last question. Fiona, if you would like to pick.
Let me see. I see some comments. People felt the same way. Francesca, Terrence said people aren't willing to embrace change. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Ken clarified it was Sean Hayes who interviewed Hannah Ann on Ellen.
Yes. Yeah, I
Did
think
a
he was
great
filling
job
in for her in the beginning of kind of what was going on with the pandemic, right? Was that what was happening as she was having fill-ins? Yeah, because I think there were a lot.
Let's see. I don't really see a lot of questions. Anybody have a final question?
Or we could do right here. People are actually giving their kind of insight into the show, and Francesca was saying how she agrees with what I was saying with all the contestants being new, and then how, let's see, who was saying that people don't embrace change from Terrence. So I think people are all on board that like have gotten into the show, and that it just takes time. You guys got to get familiar with people, and from there, they're all going to fall in love because it's a Bachelor show. Let's be honest, we're all if you're in this chat right now, don't deny it. You're hooked on Bachelor Nation, and you will watch the spinoffs and you will give them a fair chance, but not everyone is like us, okay? So we just need to give it some time. Oh, here we go. One final question from Beach 2020. Are Peter and Kelly official? According to sources, yes, but they still have not confirmed it themselves. At this point, I would say yes. I would say it's safe to assume that they're dating. But you guys, on that note, that wraps up our Bachelor News Recap Live. We'll be back here all the time, sharing all the Bachelor news. So if you'd like to keep up with us, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you can watch all of our live streams as they happen, and we can continue to interact with you guys. And if you'd like to follow me and Fiona in the meantime, you guys can follow me at Renee Ariel on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. And Fiona, where can they follow you?
You can find me on all of those same platforms at Fiona Zering.
All right, you guys, we will see you back here next time.
Bye.